It's Desmond Bain. He's getting about 33 minutes per game.
Holy cow.
I think that also has something to do with the firing. I think the inability to adjust and kind of look at what he has and realize what guys would flow together. Last week, it was announced that Damian Lillard would be out for an undisclosed amount of time with a blood clot in his leg. With the Bucks vying for position in the Eastern Conference, where do the Bucks turn now? What's their ceiling without Dame? Ryan, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, the Bucks just keep getting hit with blow after blow. They just can't seem to catch a break. First, they had Bobby Portis suspended for 25 games. Now Dame has blood clots in his right calf. It might be Dame time to retire. I don't know. I mean, Giannis is not looking as dominant as he once was. You can also blame Doc Rivers. He can't seem to find a lineup to keep consistently on the floor. The bench is flat. Kuzma's not effectively scoring. He comes in averaging 14 a game, but he's just shooting way too much, I still feel. KPJ is not playing as much as I think he should. He's playing inconsistent minutes. The Bucks are a mess, and I think the championship window is it's closing. It's closing tight, and Giannis might want out before that door closes.
You know, in my opinion, I think the Bucks championship window has been closed for a while.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
And Giannis, when they were together, the Bucks were the 4th seed? We weren't going to do anything. We were not an upper echelon Eastern Conference team. Losing Dame just makes it certain that we're going to be a first-round exit. Ryan Rollins, Kevin Porter Jr. are both viable backup point guards, but they cannot start consistently in the league.
I think Kevin Porter Jr. could.
I don't think. I think Kevin Porter Jr. succeeds most when he's a microwave off the bench.
Yeah, as like a 6-man, you're saying?
Yeah, if Kevin Porter Jr. is your starting point guard, you're probably not very good.
No, but you can have a supporting cast, but the Bucks just can't. They can never seem to go into the playoffs healthy. They were always either missing Giannis or Chris when they had those two. They're gonna go without Dame.
Especially because right now they do play New York, and I don't know how much I trust this team, even at 100.
Man, when we played New York, the last Friday night, New York smacked us. It was very bad. And Giannis, I mean, like Ryan was saying, Giannis has not been as dominating as he used to be. You can just tell that he's kind of losing it. His athleticism is going. In the offseason, he likes to play for Team Greece. Mm-hmm. And you see that all the extra basketball catches up to him around playoff time every year, and it catches up to the rest of the Bucks. And our supporting cast is terrible. And Giannis is not as dominant as you would need him to be when our supporting cast takes a step back. And it's looking like the Bucks are going to be first-round exits again. Yeah,
we shall see how much trouble the Bucks are in. Moving to topic 2, the Grizzlies made a shocking move firing their coach Taylor Jenkins after 5 full seasons. The Grizzlies are currently the 5th seed in the West and 14 games over 500. Nadiri, does this move make any sense to you?
This move is very confusing just because of the timing of it all. I understand Taylor Jenkins being fired. That in itself kind of makes sense, right? The Grizzlies were never able to make it past the hump with this core. And you can kind of blame the core because, I mean, how far does John Morant, Desmond Bain, and Jaren Jackson Jr. really get you? But you also have to blame the coach. You usually blame the coach before the players. That's how it works. Firing him with 9 games left in the season when he already has secured you a playoff spot is very confusing, though. And I really wonder why the Grizzlies do that. Why do you think they did so?
They have been struggling in their last 20 games. They're 8-12. They're struggling, especially against teams under 500. What their GM Zach Kleiman said that why he fired him is that he felt that Jenkins had quote unquote lost the locker room. Mm-hmm. Their defensive efficiency ranking dropped in the second half of the season. They were so good in the first half of the season. They looked like a force that was going to be in the playoff race in the West. Granted, they still are in that race. Their interim head coach Tuomas Isalu, he's taking over the helm in Memphis right now, but I just don't see this team going anywhere. But I think Taylor Jenkins is going to be a really big name to watch out for head coach vacancies in the offseason.
For me, looking at the stats, this team has 10 players that are playing 20-plus minutes.
Yeah.
How are you ever going to get any sort of chemistry when you have 10 players just coming in and out and in and out? And also, this team has Jaren Jackson Jr. and Zach Edey, and they allow the 6th most points in the league. And granted, they score the 2nd most, but when you're giving up the 6th most, you obviously have to score the 2nd most. Do you guys know who their leading minute getter is?
I would probably have not. I'm not going to say John Morant.
I'm going to say Jaren.
It's Desmond Bain. He's getting about 33 minutes per game.
Holy cow.
I think that also has something to do with the firing. I think the inability to adjust and kind of look at what he has and realize what guys would flow together because it doesn't make much sense besides that.
It seems like Jenkins wanted fresh legs all the time.
Yeah.
But sometimes you gotta let these guys just play it out.
Yeah.
100%.
Next up, we will go over a possible rule change in the MLB. Stay tuned.
passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
It's always been there, his love of the outdoors. Some days, you wonder if it might be his calling. Truth is, you know that the things he's passionate about today will build the foundation of what he does tomorrow, and possibly inspire a new journey. All he needs now is a way to make it happen. We are the universities of Wisconsin. 13 universities, unlimited opportunity.
Matt checking in to see how Sam is doing on his project, and it's getting close to exporting now, the final step in the process. And it is complete, and Sam is hyped. Finally gets complete and spikes the ball into the end zone. Sam's celebrating with his colleagues, and they throw a flag on the play. The ref's gonna call excessive celebration. Sam is in disbelief and can't believe it. He tries to dispute the call, but the ref is not having any of it.
Welcome back to PEOMIOSFYRDS. During the MLB spring training, the league tested out the ABS, or the Automated Ball Strike Challenge system. Ryan, is this a good move to take less control off the umps, or is this just going to slow down the game once again?
See, I want to compare this again to how the NFL and NBA uses replay. The MLB has replay for stealing bases or close plays at bases, but they never really had anything for balls and strikes, which was the majority of the game, was the pitches. So I think having two reviewable plays or two reviewable pitches that you retain if correct, I think that really is going to help the league. It's going to help get that replay system involved, but do not put robot umps back there.
Yeah.
Keep the human official aspect to it. I just don't see how they could ever go to robot umps, but I think when you can review balls and strikes occasionally during the game, I do like that.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of a coach's challenge in baseball for sure. I will say if it slows the game down, that is kind of concerning because baseball is one of those sports that gets quite boring a lot, quite frankly, because of how slow the game is. It's not always as high scoring as you would want it to be. So if it slows down the game, I do think that might be concerning in terms of making the league as watchable as it can be.
Yeah, I think we've heard it, in a lot of sports this year, the officials have been controlling a lot of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this takes out that a lot. I do think there should be some rules to it. For me, I think it should be sixth inning or later in a close game. I think 3 runs or less, because if you're down 8-2 in the 8th inning and you're disputing a call, what's the point?
I don't think teams would, though. I think that they're going to save it for those moments in a game. And like you said, baseball can be boring, but it's one of those sports where the team can get into a rally and you can really score some runs, and it can flip on its head easily.
I also really like that the pitcher, catcher, batter can only call for the challenge.
I agree.
Because
the coach can't.
Right, because that really puts the control into the actual player's hands, rather than the manager. In other sports, we kind of see them look at a replay and be like, yeah, let's challenge this. This really kind of lets the players take control.
Yeah.
UFL season began this weekend, but is this league good enough to tide us football fans over until the NFL season comes back? Nadiri, what are your thoughts on this league?
The UFL definitely has some pros and cons. One of the big pros is that you see a lot of former NFL players playing there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We see Hakeem Butler. He's the reigning UFL Offensive Player of the Year. He's returning. Anthony Brown, former Ravens quarterback, even destroying a football content creator. And there's some rule differences, right? There's 1, 2, and 3-point conversions, along with their overtime being a little different. But I think the biggest con about the UFL is just it's on during a bad time, right? Yep. It's playoff basketball. It's March Madness. I'm not watching the UFL. I don't care about what the Birmingham Stallions are going to do when I can watch my Bucks. I'm just going to be serious. And I think another big thing is that there's not as many big names, and that there's an obvious skill gap. Mm-hmm. I think those are the biggest problems in the UFL, but there are pros. If there's nothing else going on, I'll turn on a UFL game, but it is kind of the last resort sort of thing.
I do like the fact that you see a lot of these guys are trying to revive the career or get on an NFL roster. We see names like Matt Corral, Jordan Ta'amu, Alex Magoo tried out for the Packers at both quarterback and receiver. Max Duggan's in there, Rodrigo Blankenship, Marquette King's still playing football. Amari Rogers and Jay Sternberger for you Packer fans out there. But I think that I do like the UFL, but like you said, it's out at a bad time. You can't really move it, though, because baseball has summer. The NBA and NFL are in the fall, winter area. So there's really no time for another football league to happen. And March 29th through June 14th just happens to be when they place it. So
I think for me, it's kind of cool to see them play because they have nothing to lose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's a short season. There's 8 teams. I think it's 8 weeks and then 2 weeks of playoffs. We saw guys like Brandon Aubrey, Cavante Turpin for the Cowboys play in this league when it was the USFL. Jake Bates is probably the most famous one in the UFL. He's the place kicker, maybe one of the best kickers in the league for the Lions. I just think it's cool, like, seeing also these undrafted guys kind of continue their careers. And so it's just kind of cool to see these smaller guys come out.
For sure.
Coming up after the break, we will give our reactions to the opening weekend in the MLB. Stay tuned to PEOMIOSFYRDS.
Have you heard of UROC?
We're part of Whitewater and our own thing.
Come on, we'll show you.
I learned how to be a college student here, and now I'm headed off to Madison to study global health, and I know I'm ready.
People like me who aren't a fan of big crowds would really like UROC because it's welcoming and it's laid back.
My advisor helped me figure out my schedule, organize my time, fill out my FAFSA, and figure out what classes I liked and how to turn that into a major. And if I had to do it again, I would choose UROC.
You ready to rock?
You belong here.
The Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. We're here to compete, to inspire, to grow, and to make history. We are rooted in tradition. For over a century, we have contended as the premier conference within Division III.
I shot the ball!
We are united throughout Wisconsin. All 8 of our full-time member institutions are based in our great state. But although Wisconsin is our home, our impact reverberates across the entire nation, crowning 180 national team championships and counting. Our mission is to shape student athletes who excel academically and athletically, equipped to become leaders in life. We are here to build on our enduring legacy and move boldly forward into the future. We are the WIAC, Excellence in Action.
This is The Insider on UWW-TV. I'm Zach Kreider. The UW-Whitewater women's softball team is off to a scorching start to the 2025 season. The ladies enjoyed a spring trip to Florida, where they at one point outscored their opponents 45-14 in a 6-game span. This is coming off a season where last year, Whitewater achieved the top rank in Region 8 with an overall record of 32-8. They would then go on to regionals, but fell to Central in Game 2 of the tournament. This year, however, UWW is setting on soaring higher under the leadership of Bella Eggert, a junior from Carroll Stream, Illinois. Eggert currently holds an incredible .579 batting average, good for best on the team, and also leads the team in total bases with 15. The rest of this team has been showing out as well, with many stand-up performances by players such as JJ Jakasalem, Kiara Kostrowski, Emma Geese, and pitcher Josie Hamer. That's only to name a few. The UW-Whitewater women's team is typically ranked in the top 25 of the NFCA Coaches Poll and are looking to move up those rankings with their recent victories. The Lady Warhawks are playing this season with a lot of hope of repeating last year's success and hope to go even further this year. This has been The Insider on UWW-TV. I'm Zach Kreider.
She's always had it. Pure ambition. An unbridled self-confidence that most people only dream of. You see it driving her, empowering her, and in time, you see it fueling her future. Perhaps even helping her blaze a new trail. All she needs now is a way to make it happen. We are the Universities of Wisconsin. 13 universities. Unlimited opportunity.
Our portion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Sports fans, we cheer on our favorite teams at fields, gyms, arenas, and stadiums. But have you ever wondered what it's like to be a referee? Verbal abuse from fans, parents, and coaches is the #1 reason why many referees are walking away. And they're not being replaced quickly enough by new ones. So put yourself in the official shoes, act with respect, and be officially human.
Welcome back to the show. The MLB kicked off its regular season this past Friday. Lots of home runs were hit, some young stars shined, and some teams are still winless after this weekend. Ryan, are there any teams, players, or moments that stood out to you?
The moment that stood out for everyone from the whole weekend is the Yankees' new torpedo bat. I'm not sure how I feel about the bat. They've hit 15 home runs in 3 games against the Brewers, broke a number of records, scored 36 runs in 3 games, 20 of those being on Saturday alone. Like you said, there's still 4 teams defeated and 4 teams undefeated. Brewers, Braves, Tigers, Twins are teams that were swept. Yankees, Padres, Dodgers, and Cardinals are the ones that are undefeated. Aaron Judge looking to repeat as AL MVP. He is just playing out of his mind recently. So is Jazz Chisholm, his counterpart on the Yankees. The Yankees look like a force to reckon with, but again, we're only 4 games into the MLB season. So do not get too ahead of yourselves. There's still 162 games total for these teams. So, but I think we're in for another exciting year of Major League Baseball. A lot of young, exciting teams and talent. And I liked how the Marlins, they had their first 3 wins of the season were all walk-offs. So I like how these young teams are just like they're playing together and they like play and they're gonna develop into something good. So.
And I mean, the Yankees are absolutely insane. 20 home runs is literally crazy. All I've seen on my Twitter feed is about the torpedo bats. Have no idea what they're doing over there, but they're cooking for sure.
It's working.
Yeah, I think
Judge isn't using it.
Yeah, I know he's just natural. I don't know he's doing that. Another team to watch out for is, of course, the Dodgers. The Dodgers have looked pretty nice as well. They have Tommy Edman, his 3 home runs. But I think their dude from Japan, Yamamoto, he's been struggling.
He has.
The pitcher's been struggling. They thought he was going to cross over and immediately be great. He's definitely been struggling. They're still 5-0 though, so it doesn't really matter. But I think that's something to watch as the season progresses.
Yeah, I think the Brewers will be fine. They got to get their starting pitchers back. But a note for me is the White Sox have won 2 games.
Yeah.
It took them until Game 5 last year to win a single game, and they beat the Twins 9-0 today. So it'll be interesting to see how their season turns around. With our Final Four prediction going 0-4, what led to all 4 #1 seeds making it this far? Nadiri, your thoughts on this Final Four and the tourney as a whole?
The first thing I want to talk about is, last week was a hard week for me because they made me pick Oregon. Oregon was not Nadiri's pick. I just want you guys to know that that wasn't my pick.
Wait, but he picked up on the championship. You picked him over Michigan State.
It was a swerve. Anyway, Oregon lost like I thought they would because I told you guys that they weren't really that good. Oregon did exactly what they were supposed to do. They pooped the bed. Michigan State, they put up a valiant effort. Shout out Michigan State. St. John's, they also forgot how to play basketball, and Kentucky was not the team that we thought that they were. But the #1 picks made it for the first time since 2008, and I'm low-key excited. You know what I mean? It's going to be a phenomenal run, and I am officially giving my allegiance to Coop and them. Cooper Flag, Con Knuppel. I'm taking my talents to Duke. They're about to win the Natty, guys.
I agree with you on that Duke take. I got Duke playing Auburn in the Natty.
Same.
2 best teams in the league right now. I think this should be the best weekend of basketball that we're gonna see. You have the 4 best teams in the country playing basketball: Florida, Auburn, Houston, Duke. I think Alabama could have been there, but then they dropped 65 against Duke after putting up 113 in the Sweet 16. So
they should have, put some of those points.
They should have.
They should have carried the 2, put it over, but it's okay.
But I think overall, I personally love a Cinderella story in March. But I think this year it was just meant to be all 4 number 1 seeds. I think Texas Tech and Arkansas really could have made some noise if Arkansas would have beat Texas Tech. I like that matchup. I like Coach Cal to take a run in March, and I think Cooper Flagg and Con Knuppel, that guard play is just. Or the guard freshman play, I should say, is they have that offense in rhythm. They're unstoppable.
I had Duke and Auburn as well. Those are the 2 teams in this tournament that didn't really get tested.
Yeah.
The closest game for Duke was 193 against Arizona. Yes, it was a 7-point game, but they put up triple digits.
Right.
Auburn's was against Michigan State, 70-64, but it was not close until the end. So I have Duke winning it all. When we come back, we'll present our final thoughts for this week's episode. Stay tuned.
We'd love to show you what it's like to be a Warhawk.
Come on!
Don't miss out on your chance to be a Warhawk.
At UW Whitewater.
You belong here.
You can see it. His potential, that is. You see it even when he may not. You see that the things that spark his interest today will in time ignite the things he pursues tomorrow. And ultimately, help him reach new heights. All he needs now is a way to make it happen. We are the Universities of Wisconsin. 13 universities, unlimited opportunity.
UWW-TV has been an important part of the campus and community since 1980.
Not only providing on-air learning opportunities for broadcast journalists and electronic media production students,
but educating and entertaining our audiences with award-winning news, live sports coverage, original programming,
as well as dedicating the mission to developing creative collaborations throughout campus.
For more information, visit our website and like us on Facebook.
Check us out because you gotta see what's on UWW-TV.
Sports fans, we pack stadiums, arenas, and local gyms every day. And every sports fan is uniquely human. Seeing each play with your own eyes, triggering your own emotions. And as humans, we won't agree on every call, but we can act with empathy and consideration. So put yourself in the official shoes. Be more than a fan. Be officially human.
Welcome back to PEOMIOSFYRDS. Let's give our final thoughts for this week's episode. Ryan, anything that stood out to you from the news this weekend?
Well, I don't know if I was watching the NBA or UFC last night. I mean, we saw an intense brawl between the Timberwolves and the Pistons. 7 people were ejected, 2 coaches, 5 players. Was not a surprise. Isaiah Stewart was one of those. Basketball gets very heated, very competitive. But when you have like head coach getting involved, I think that's like way too much. It's gone too far. Did you guys see the mark on Dante DiVincenzo's neck?
I did not.
He was scratched or choked or something. It got way too far. I understand skirmish and like some pushing and shoving. That should be involved in every game, in my opinion. But this had 12 technical fouls given out in this game. The most since 20 years, almost to the day, March 23rd, 2005, between the Mavs and Warriors. I just think I like how intense and physical basketball is and can be. I'm just surprised I don't see more of this, but not to this extent. What do you think, Nadir?
You know, honestly, I think finding basketball, sometimes you need to get your anger out. You know what I mean? If I was...
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
you know, if
I like the fights. I like the fights,
you know
but
what I
just
mean?
keep it lower.
But if we're going to be fighting right, I think we need to fight the right way, right? So Rajon Rondo, I mean, we can set that up later. Rajon Rondo, Chris Paul, right? It happened in 2019. Phenomenal fight. You know, because Rajon Rondo and Chris Paul, they're twins. I'm not sure if you guys knew that. But they need to fight. We need a boxing match when Chris Paul retires. But I also have another match. We need to call up WWE for this one, right? Draymond Green.
On the phone?
No. Draymond Green, Isaiah Stewart, Jaden McDaniels, triple threat main event WrestleMania. We need that. Halftime at the NBA Finals, Game 7, something. All-Star Weekend. We need more fights in the NBA, right?
It wouldn't be that hard to bring the platform out.
I don't think so either. And they, you know, all those players, they get mad pretty easily. I think Isaiah Stewart, Draymond would 100% agree.
You do an NBA tag team.
Tag team for sure.
I also feel it was weird because it was like the most normal foul I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like it was just like a on the wrist, you know, just very basic kind of foul, and then all of a sudden it just was in the crowd in the second row.
They low-key were bullying Ron Holland too. Bro was like 19. He's getting beat up by Dante. Dante's
He's
like
as old as us,
old.
dude.
I know he's actually older than me, but it's okay.
He's older than me too.
You know, I would beat up Dante personally. I wouldn't take that Ron.
That'll do it for us for tonight's episode. Thank you for watching, and this has been Please Excuse Our Momentary Interruption from Sports from your regular daily schedule on UWW TV.